Okay, Facebook, in front of Surrey County Courthouse presently. I'm going to do a very quick video on Senate Bill 14, 15, and 67. These are short bills. They won't take a lot of time to explain, but they are further regulations that are regulating firearms that you should know about. 14 is dealing with triggers. Now, you may have heard about bump stocks. Bump stocks are the mechanisms. Basically, it takes off the standard stock of a firearm and you replace it with a bump stock device. And basically what happens is when you pull the trigger of a firearm with one of these on it, when the recoil of the round goes into your arm, the concussion into your shoulder creates a secondary shot. So you pull the trigger, it crushes into your shoulder. That creates a same kind of a trigger pull. So it basically shoots 1 or 2 rounds every second, kind of a thing. Now, the guy in Las Vegas used this, and a lot of people even know what bump stocks were. It should probably be known that it was under President Obama that the ATF said that these were legal devices, for what that's worth. So basically, because this guy in Vegas did use this tool, everybody got freaked out, and they said, "Okay, we can't have bump stocks." So President Trump said, "Okay, we're going to make bump stocks illegal," and the ATF created this rule that says you have to forfeit them and turn them in and all that, and that's still kind of being litigated. Well, Virginia is taking it a little bit further, and in Virginia, the proposed Senate Bill 14 talks about felony prohibitions about owning these types of triggers moving forward if this bill were to pass. So 14 says if you own a bump stock or a binary trigger, that is going to be a felony to just own them. There's no grandfather clause, there's no buyback, there's no compensation. You'll be a felon if you've owned these. Now again, keep in mind that a year and a half ago, 2 years ago, these things were illegal to purchase. You could purchase them right over the counter, barely even any real regulation on these things. And now Senate Bill 14 is going to propose to make those felonies. Now, President Trump's bump stock ban did not go as far as a binary trigger, and basically a binary trigger, if you have one, this is usually made by a company called the Echo Trigger. It's the most popular brand. We used to sell them quite a bit at the gun shop I own, and basically instead of the stock collapsing into your shoulder, it was basically when you pulled the trigger, it shot a round, and then when you released the trigger, it shot another round. That's called a binary trigger. If you have one of those, you will be a felon if you continue to possess that if Senate Bill 14 passes. And there seems to be pretty good indication that Senate 14 has broad support in the Democrat caucus. So 14 is likely going to pass. It's not the law today, but likely going to pass. So if you have a bump stock or a binary trigger on your firearms, possessing them is a felony. The link to 14 is there. There's a couple of minor exceptions. You can look at that. I'm not going to go through all that. 15, public buildings. It's going to be illegal if 15 passes to carry a firearm into a building owned by the Commonwealth of Virginia, owned or leased by the Commonwealth of Virginia. Now, for those of us here in Virginia Beach, the Building 2 shooting, the employees were very dissatisfied with the ability not to be able to bring firearms to to work. And the law currently says that the locality can decide if you can possess a firearm in a public building. And in Virginia Beach has prohibited you being able to own or possess a firearm inside of a public building as an employee. So that is the law currently. What the law is going to be if Senate Bill 15 passes is that any public building, it would be illegal to own or possess a firearm in that public building, except for limited circumstances like law enforcement, things like that. You can look at that bill. That's up there as well. The public building issue is a little scary if you think about it, because if you're a concealed carry permit holder and you have to just run into the DMV to upgrade your driver's license or get a tag or something like that, or just run into the City of Virginia Beach to carry a personal property tax, pay a personal property tax bill or something like that, you just run in there and you have the firearm on you, you could be found guilty of a misdemeanor, again, criminalizing behavior of the public for lawfully owning and possessing firearms. So 15 is dangerous, although finally we don't see felony violations popping up here. It is a misdemeanor, and misdemeanors in Virginia carry up to a year in jail and a $2,500 fine. So if you're a concealed carry permit holder and you run into the DMV to pay your bill and you have a firearm in your purse and they catch you somehow, you could go to jail for a year. That's what Senate Bill 15 is proposing. There's no exceptions unless, of course, you're in the exceptions in the statute, which are mostly law enforcement exceptions. 67 deals with reporting your firearm lost or stolen within 24 hours. Now, this is the first bill that I've read that doesn't actually make you a criminal for failing to comply, but there is a penalty of $250 if you fail to report your firearm lost or stolen within 24 hours. So those are a summary of those three bills. So we've talked about a lot here. We've talked about the assault weapons ban. I just did a video earlier today about the universal background checks with private parties. The proposal of that bill is that if you don't comply with their law, that you'll be a felon if you're the seller, and you'll be convicted of a misdemeanor if you're the buyer. These are in private party transactions. The binary trigger bill, which we just talked about, and bump stock bill on 14, you'd be a felon to possess those. Bringing a firearm into a public building, you would be you'd be convicted of a crime you can go to jail for up to a year for. So look at the pattern of what is happening. Not only are they changing the rules, but they're taking what is typically lawful behavior today, and they're going to make it criminal next year, meaning that if you went to the you went into the DMV with a firearm next year, you might go to jail and have a criminal record because of that, just as a lawful concealed carry permit holder. So those are those ones. Now, I'm holding off on the very last one. The very last one is a big one. If you go through the Senate and the House bills and you type in firearm, there's about 12 different things, or type in handgun, there's about 12 different things. There's a big one that has nothing to do in the text of firearms, and I'm going to talk about that at the end of the day. So the next one is going to be big to watch. It could be totally innocent, but the way it's looking, the way these bills are coming down from the senators, it looks like it's going to be very nefarious, and it's cloaked. And I'm going to tell you all about that on our next video. My name's Tim Anderson. I'm an attorney in Virginia Beach. No one's talking about this right now. No one's talking about these bills. And what happens is in Virginia, the sessions run in January and February, and it'll happen real quick. And before we know it, we're going to have a bunch of new laws without any public comment. So the reason I'm making these videos, the reason I'm spending my time to do that, is to educate you on what's going on so that you can contact your senators and your representatives and tell them, no, I don't want this, or we need to modify this. Get involved in the process. This is the time to do that. Write to them now. Tell them that criminalizing behavior, making felons out of lawful gun owners in Virginia is extreme. Putting somebody in jail for bringing a firearm into a DMV to pay their property tax or get their license renewed is insane. Act, Virginia. Please act. Share my videos. Get it out. You're not going to see this on Pilot Online or on the networks because nobody wants to talk about what the Democrats are doing. I'm going to do it. I'm going to tell you every time a new bill comes out. But this next one I'm going to tell you about this afternoon, it's big. I'll talk to you soon.